All right, let's talk about something that stops so many founders dead in their tracks. And here's a spoiler, it has almost nothing to do with technology. It's all about this internal battle, the psychology of letting go and finally giving yourself permission to automate.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The most important word in that whole sentence is allow. See, automation isn't a piece of software you just install. It's a mental shift. It's you consciously deciding to trust a system to carry something you've been holding on to. It's an act of letting go.
And there's the rub. This is the heart of the whole conflict, right? Because for so many of us who are driven, keeping everything in your head, all the follow-ups, the little reminders, it feels like you're being dedicated. It feels like you're in control. It feels like you're being a responsible leader. But is that what's really going on?
That thinking, that leads us directly into what we're calling the responsibility trap. It's this belief, this myth, that your control as a founder comes from personally remembering every single little thing.
And you know what? For a little while, that approach might even feel like it's working, but it's completely unsustainable. I mean, the source material talks about a founder who kept everything in their head. And you know what happened? They were exhausted before the day even began. That feeling of being constantly on, that's a direct symptom of being caught in this trap.
So what is the real cost of doing things this way? Well, it's a hidden cost, a sneaky one, that we're going to call the manual drag tax. Think about it like this. Every single task you're holding in your mind is like a small rock you put in a backpack. One rock, no big deal. But dozens, hundreds, that invisible weight, it creates this constant low-grade stress that just quietly sucks your energy and focus, day after day. It's literally a tax on your attention.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at the contrast here. You feel responsible, but the reality is you're just on alert, constantly monitoring. You feel in control, but really you're just carrying this enormous mental weight. You tell yourself it's professional, it's essential, but what's actually happening is the slow burn of low-grade stress and a totally drained attention span.
So how in the world do you break free from that? Well, it's not about finding the perfect app. It's about crossing a psychological barrier. It's about crossing the permission threshold. Okay, so let's look at this founder's story. For months, they just wouldn't automate. And it wasn't because they didn't know how. The barrier was 100% internal. It was trust. They just didn't trust a system to do what they'd always done themselves. That manual work, for them, felt like the only way to guarantee control.
Then one day, they took one tiny little step. They didn't build some massive, complex workflow. Nope, they just automated a single, recurring reminder. That's it. It was an almost laughably small action.
And what happened? Well, technically, it was pretty boring. The system worked, the reminder went out, nothing broke, nothing failed. But that is not the important part of this story.
The real change, that was the feeling. That one little automated reminder closed an open loop in their brain. A tiny piece of their mind that was always humming in the background, saying, don't forget that thing, it finally got to switch off. For good. They could actually feel their attention soften. It was relief. And that is the key takeaway here. That tiny, successful experiment, that was everything. It wasn't a tech tip. It was a psychological breakthrough. It created the internal permission they needed to finally trust a system. It proved that they could let their attention rest, and the work would still get done. And once you get that permission, it allows for this massive shift in your identity as a founder. You stop being the system's memory, and you start becoming the system's architect. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. You've got two identities. The system's memory is always carrying that weight, always reacting, always exhausted. But the system's architect, they delegate, they design and direct. Their energy is used with presence, not just for remembering. They can actually rest their attention. That's the goal. It is so important that we bust these myths that keep us stuck in that memory role. Automation is not laziness, it's strategic. It is not about doing less, it's about focusing on the things that actually matter more. It is not about losing control, it's about gaining a way more powerful kind of control. And it is definitely not about replacing you. So let's reframe this. Let's think about what automation actually is. It's about having respect for your own limited, valuable attention. It's a tool you use to carry less in your head, to actively take that mental weight off your shoulders. The system isn't replacing you, it's here to support you.
So how do we make this transition permanent? Well, it's about making a commitment. A commitment to closing your mental loops for good so you can finally focus on building your business, not just remembering all the pieces.
I mean, this is the bottom line. You simply cannot build a scalable, high-leverage business, one that can grow beyond your own personal capacity, on a foundation of one person's memory. It's impossible. It requires solid systems that you design and direct, but that you don't have to personally power every single day.
And your first step is just beautiful in its simplicity. Please, don't try to automate your entire company this afternoon. Just like in the story, pick one small, repeatable task, a reminder, a follow-up, whatever, and then just let a system carry it. That's it. That's how you start. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question to really think about. Right now, today, is your main effort going into building a scalable business? Or is it really just going into becoming a better, more overloaded human hard drive? This journey from being the memory to becoming the architect is, at its core, a psychological one. If you're ready to stop paying that manual drag tax and start getting your attention back, this is how you begin that shift.
To get the help you need to cross your own permission threshold, go check out 365freedom.online. Thanks for watching.